you know, we're calling it Booner School because we like the name. And we're pretty successful at shooting good deer like that. And we just kind of want to share some of the tips that we use, you know, with you guys as the viewer, so you can maybe implicate these into your tactics also. What I'm going to talk to you today about a little bit is a little bit about food plot placement. And you know, yeah, it's February already here, but what we're looking at here is a little tiny clover plot, a trophy clover plot that I put in last year by Antler King. And what this is in is it's kind of in more of a staging area. And you can see here, I've got some real thick bedding, and then it goes up into a destination feed field up here. Well, right here, down in over this hollow, is all kinds of, you know, big timber, big rocks. The deer like to bed down in there. They'll bed in the nighttime. What they do is they come up here in this thick stuff like this, and they'll even lay down in here after they're in the destination feed field. But you can get these deer to stop, you know, before daylight, or before dark time, I mean. You know, you get them coming out of the timber, and if you set your, you know, redneck hunting blinds up or your tree stands in the correct places, you'll get these deer, you know, in time, especially a mature buck, especially in the pre-rut or early season when their guard is really down, and you can catch those deer, you know, with plenty of shooting light left, and you can catch them coming up out of here. Now you can see this plot is not very big at all. It just, you know, it's just a little tiny quarter-acre plot, which is perfect for hunting. And really good trees too. See these leafy white oaks? That's one thing to really look at. White oak trees, scarlet oak trees hold their leaves way into the wintertime. And so I really look for those kind of trees when I'm setting up ambush sites, like for food sources. A lot of times I'll plant my plot close to the tree that I know I'm going to hunt out of, instead of trying to, you know, plant it where the best spot is. I plant it where it's the best spot to kill the deer. So in this instance, that tree just happened to be in a good spot because there's actually a corner here where this woods makes a corner, and I can catch them coming up out of that corner. And from that leafy white oak tree, I can shoot to that corner of woods coming up out of a bedding area, or I can shoot into this little food plot. Now I call these kill plots, is what I call them. And you know, a lot of times we don't hunt directly over the food sources like this or the food plots, but in instances like this you really can, because it's a good thing to do. You just don't over hunt them, you know, hunt them right, don't over hunt them. And one thing I want to show you too is how these deer, how they come up out of this timber here. And you can see these trails coming out of here already into this little tiny plot. There's all kinds of tracks in here. You can see that little bit of clover and stuff. They're still coming out here even now with the snow off, since it's melted, but it's still frozen, and they're picking through it. But look right here. I started this mock scrape right here with some Black Widow Scrape Master last year, and this spot is really, it's really turned on. I mean, you can see here where they're using the licking branch here, they're rubbing their interdigital glands up in there, and then, you know, down in here, you know, now this scrape is, you know, it's been going since late September, early October, so I mean, they're still using it. Right now they're not using it so much, but you know, they still, deer are social animals. When they come out into a spot like this, you can see that rub back in there too. I don't know if you can see it on that tree, but these deer will stage in these areas like this, and these are just perfect scenarios for you as a hunter to capitalize on trying to, you know, really take advantage of deer movement. See that? I mean, that's a pretty good sized rub. But you can see how thick it is down in here. See all that browse? And again, south facing hill, where all the browse is at, and the deer are, you know, they can get up in the daytime, they can browse in there, they can eat, they have food, they make their way out of the bedding, and they'll slowly work themselves to these, you know, kill plots like this. Then from there, they'll work themselves to the destination food sources. You can see down in there, I've got a ladder stick, because there's at times when the acorns are on in here that I'll hunt a little bit in the woods off the plot with the right wind. I'll hunt these trails coming to the plot, because sometimes there's a couple oaks right there that will hit really early, and that's the perfect spot to catch a big deer coming to one of these plots. Another thing I want to show you here. So, you know, I've already showed you this little plot that I got here, and I was telling you about the destination food source. Well, I've also made a trail that goes all the way up to this other plot that I made with honey hole. It's got Antler King honey hole in it. Well, this trail connects these two plots, and look at those tracks in there. And then if you look here, here's the corner I was talking about. Here's the kill tree. I've actually got a couple trees I can pick from here. And for me, I would much rather hunt lower in a tree like that, in that leafy white oak, than I would hunt higher in a tree like that with all that skylight in it. So that's a lot of things that people need to understand. You know, cover to me is way more important than height with deer. Some people it's not, but for me it is, and you know, it works for me, and that's how I like to hunt. But anyways, so then you take these tracks, and like I'm showing you, then this goes up in here to a whole nother plot. And so what you're doing is you're giving these deer like a salad bar. You got two plots that are really close together, and you've got good bedding in, not bedding, but you know, browse and stuff in between that connects the two. And it just gives you some diversity. And then they have the destination grass field up here at night that they lay in and feed in all night. So just some good stuff here, you know. Like I said, you know, the whole thing here with Booner School is we're just trying to give you guys some just little tips and tactics that we use, you know, that can kind of give you an edge. These are great places to run trail cameras. You can get pictures of these deer, you know, traveling between plots. They're easy to get into. You're not penetrating the bedding areas. Now, I wouldn't want to be in here checking these cameras constantly, but you can check them, you know, regularly enough to give yourself the most recent information to know when you can get on a deer and when he's moving, if he's hitting that scrape and pre-rut, you know, if he's hitting it in daylight, and then you can take that to the next level. And I'm going to go into a little bit of a series here soon too in Booner School about how we use scrapes and how to use black widow deer lures to really up your game on, you know, making a dominant doe get mad and start checking them scrapes, trying to find what deer is messing with her. And then it also causes the big buck to come into play a little bit earlier too, to maybe give you a shot.